Well, response from Iranian leaders to the president's action was swift and harsh.
This is an international multilateral deal that has been ratified by the UN Security Council. It is a UN document. Is it possible for a president to unilaterally decertify this important international deal? Apparently, he is not in the know.
Iranian President Rouhani there. Well, Mr. Trump's action declared that Iran was not in compliance with the terms of the nuclear deal, even though international inspectors say otherwise. The issue now goes to the US Congress, which has 60 days to find a path forward. Mr. Trump wants Congress to take a more combative approach to Iran's ballistic missile program. Well, with us now from Los Angeles is political analyst Peter Mathews. Peter, thanks for joining us. Where does Trump's announcement leave the Iran nuclear deal?
It leaves it in terrible limbo. In fact, it's going to cause not only uncertainty but instability, because by Trump signifying that there's a good chance he could withdraw from the deal and that he's not going to certify that Iran is in compliance, when actually all the other forces, such as the international inspectors, say that they are, and our allies, Germany, Britain, France, all of them want to keep the deal, as do Russia and China, and we're the only ones pulling out of it or seeming to go in that direction. Very destabilizing, very uncertain. And it's going to be a second problem for Trump now. He was dealing with North Korea all this time and is wrapped up in that situation. Now he's going to have another thing on his hands in the Middle East. And it's very dangerous. I would urge the president to go ahead and certify it once again and not force Congress to do things like sanctions once more. It's very disconcerting to our allies as well.
He did, however, stop short of unravelling the agreement, heeding the advice, obviously, of his Defence Secretary, Secretary of State and others in his cabinet. Why did he do this, considering his fierce opposition to the deal and his election promise?
Well, because his own Secretary of State, his White House, his Chief of Staff, his Defense Secretary Mattis, they all said that Iran is in compliance and we should keep the deal, and yet he went against it. And I think he's doing it for his base, his political base, that he's trying to get reelected with in 2020 or in 2018 for the Congress. He's got this base, this right-wing base, that wants him to break the deal with Iran, and they think that's a tough way to go and to show American strength. It's actually it's not showing American strength. It's causing a lot of instability and uncertainty around the world, even with our allies. So I think he's playing to his base mostly. Maybe he's not well informed enough about the details of what's going on and the history of Iran and U.S. relations and what should be done to negotiate in the world peacefully, which is so important in this time and age.
Yeah, I mean, this was a deal 13 years in the making, and there's a general consensus around the world that this is a good deal to contain Iran's nuclear program. Is it fair to say that Trump's vehement opposition, it isn't about what's best for America's national security, but rather taking a wrecking ball to Obama's legacy?
There's absolutely got to be a connection with his distrust or distaste of Obama, and he just can't stand to think that President Obama might have done a decent job in so many areas. For example, he was competing with Obama on the inaugural crowds of all things. I mean, that shows you what he thinks about the former president and how he wants to dismantle his programs, including with the health care, the Obamacare, which he's done a devastating action with. For example, taking away the subsidies for the middle class and the working poor, who have had affordable health care so far. You know, Obamacare is not perfect. It had to be worked on. But he undercut the middle class and working class. 6 million people will be affected. Their rates will go up. And then when he decided to allow the health insurance to be sold across the state boundaries, that's going to create a lot of bare-bones plans that more healthy people will go into, low-cost health care plans that don't even cover them properly, but healthy people don't need to be covered properly, they think. But it's also going to make the costs go up for everyone else, including older people and middle-aged people. And that's a real problem. It's going to create a havoc with the healthcare markets. The insurance companies are totally against it, as well as the people themselves who are benefiting from it. So I'm not really sure if President Trump knows what's going to happen in the future and the responsibility he'll be charged with regarding even the healthcare and the dismantling of that because of his antipathy toward Obama, perhaps.
Peter Mathews, we appreciate your insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, some new developments.